class breakfast table when
Of course, in Makina Auto, lumabas yung 3-door natin, which I bought from you guys. Pakita ko na sa kanila. So, 1 year na sa akin tong ating 3-door. I mean, I use it all the time. Ilan na ba tinakbo in 1 year? 1,922 kilometers.
tries to make her brown. The shades go.
The Suzuki Jimny has made a lot of noise the past years, from pre-pandemic to pandemic to post-pandemic. In fact, sa pagbabalik ko sa auto, yes, I was a car nut before motorcycles. The first choice was a Suzuki Jimny in gray. So last year around February, I got my Suzuki Jimny from Suzuki Auto Sukat. So now, a year later, here we are. The Jimny is making noise yet again, this time with the much-awaited all-new Jimny 5-door.
In my eyes, indisposed, in disguise, no one knows. Hides the face, lies the snake, in the sun, in my disgrace. Boiling heat, a summer stench, neath the black, the sky looks dead. Call my name through the cream, and I will hear you scream again.
Okay, so our feature on the 5-door Jimny will revolve around my experience with it on-road. I'm not gonna go off-road with this. Although I would love to try this out on off-road. Again, I might be pissing off a lot of you off-roaders out there. I feel that, this is just my opinion, the best way to enjoy off-road is with 2 wheels. Yes, biased ako.
In pictures and teasers the past months, I've had mixed feelings about the look of the new 5-door Jimny. I felt it looked kinda stretched and not proportioned, but in the flesh, when we attended the launch in the Cove in Okada, Manila, to me, when you're in front of it already, it looks fine. 5-door is 5-door, and off the bat, we're now looking at something that is clearly more practical. There's easier access to the back seats, and simply put, there's more space. Aesthetically, I guess you can look at it this way. It's a matter of what you're used to looking at, right? It's a matter of perspective and what came out first and what people are used to.
Okay, so let's talk about the differences between the 3-door and the 5-door Jimny. Let's start with the most obvious one, and that is the length. So the 5-door Jimny is longer by 1.3 feet, or a foot and 0.3, or you can just think of John Holmes plus 0.3. And because of this length, I actually find the 5-door Jimny more desirable in terms of the suspension. I mean, I find the ride with a 5-door Jimny just better, right? It's a longer vehicle. Naturally, it's going to have an effect on the suspension. Shorter vehicles, they tend to be more bumpy. Now, the trade-off, of course, is with longer vehicles, the handling is gonna suffer versus a shorter vehicle. So just like a motorcycle, I mean, if you compare a long Harley Davidson versus a scooter, who do you think is going to take on those corners better? It's going to be the shorter vehicle. But the ride of the longer vehicle will be better versus the shorter vehicle. For the brakes, there is an improvement as well. We now have ventilated front disc brakes. For the chassis, it's same. It's still the ladder type. Well, obviously the difference is it's longer. So there's an additional cross member in the chassis.
The motor is the same, but according to Suzuki, they retuned it so the engine can give the same buga or output with a longer, heavier vehicle as with the smaller 3-door Jimny. So what they're saying here is they retuned the engine so that the performance of the 3-door is going to be identical with a heavier 5-door, something like that. Now, apart from that retuned claim by the dealer, the numbers are identical. We are at 100 horses with 100 Newton meters of torque.
Here's 30 kilometers an hour. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now we're gonna go 40 kilometers an hour. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now we're gonna go 60 kilometers an hour in 3, 2, 1. Another one of the differences would be the front grille. The 5-door Jimny now has chrome accents, although I'm not a big fan of chrome in anything. I don't like chrome on my bikes. I don't like chrome on my cars. This is where I prefer the 3-door Jimny grille, actually. Nice and just black. So another difference that I really like that's found in the 5-door Jimny that you can't find in the 3-door Jimny, it would be the folding electric side view mirrors. That is really, really nice. The sun visors in the 5-door Jimny, it now has a vanity mirror and a little card holder for your parking ticket. It's got a nice little clip for that too. We also have some cabin lights at the rear. That's good. They're taking the second row seriously. So there's also now a seat belt reminder at the back. Your seat at the back will have a sensor. It knows if there's somebody sitting there, and it knows that that person is not wearing his or her seatbelt yet, and that they should. You're gonna be reminded. Also, the seat at the back is more comfortable than the seat in the 3-door. Why? There's more foam in these seats. It's thicker. And for our infotainment system, our media console, it is bigger for the 5-door Jimny compared to the 3-door Jimny. We are now at 9 inches. The previous one was about 8 inches, I believe. And even with how it is presented, with what you see, all the information there, it's laid out in a more modern way. And you can just tell just by looking at it, if you compare it with the 3-door Jimny, this just looks newer and just fresher. For safety, we have now 6 airbags for the 5-door Jimny. The 3-door Jimny only had 2, so 1, 2. And then you have airbags at the seat, 3, 4. And then airbags as well over at the pillars, 5, 6. So more safety features for the 5-door Jimny.
Hanging around downtown by myself, and I have so much time to sit and think about myself. And then there she was, like double cherry pie. Yeah, there she was, like disco superfly. I smell sex and candy, yeah.
For the fuel consumption, now mind you, I did not get any highway action with the 5-door Jimny. During the whole gas test, I was like really slow. I was going up Tanay Rizal, and I've been averaging, I think, about 20-30 kilometers per hour. I was going up the mountain, going down, and no real stretch. I think this would constitute to real world city driving, I guess. So I got 13.7 kpl. Tipid yung Jimny 5-door. We're going to do a little comparo on the engine bay of the Indian-made 5-door Jimny versus the 3-door Japan-made Jimny. As we know, the engine is pretty much same. What we would want to look for is how things are executed, right? We're going to look at where things are joined together. We're going to look at craftsmanship and just see how much of a difference there is, if there are any, right? So in front of me is the Indian-made 5-door Jimny. I mean, eyeballing everything, it's pretty much same quality. It all looks the same. If I did notice, the guys in India put markers here so they know if it's been tampered with or not. The Japan version does not have that. So these are just, minor things. So here's the Japan-made one. Yeah, you don't see that. Looking at the Japs and how they did things, you're gonna see how this was done over here and over there as well, and over there, this part as well. So this material that they put over the welds, I mean, they put more. It's going over to this other side, and it's also thicker, right? As I saw in the Indian version, it's just only up to here. With Japan, it goes, there's extra, it goes over to the other side as well. Paint quality and finish, it's pretty much same. Harness and how it's also done, that's the Japanese one. Hop over to the Indian made. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. There's the harness. Yeah, pretty much same old, I'd say. At least with this unit that I got. Some of the differences that we see in the inside of the 5-door Jimny versus what we have with the 3-door Jimny. Definitely we didn't have that before. This is definitely different. This looks way more modern than what we have in the 3-door Jimny. We got a lot of bass coming out here, considering everything is flat already, as you can hear. It's got Android. You can use your Apple phone with this as well.
Dun, 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 dun. So I got some luggage over here for check-in. Let's see how this fares in the 5-door Jimny. So it's gonna fit that way. You can put your carry-on luggage over here as well. You can put it on the side, so your rear view mirror won't, you can still see at the back. If it's just gonna be you, might as well just put the seat down like so. Here's my, look at that. My humongous guitar can actually fit here. Okay, so in terms of space, so I'm fine, pretty comfortable. Over at the back, space-wise, I am 6 feet tall, medyo sakto. So kunwari, 6-footer yung driver natin sa harap, ako 6-footer din. Kasya naman. At least hindi sagaran, di ba? Gabuhok lang talaga. Okay, so what are we gonna go for? The 5-door Jimny or the 3-door Jimny? Let's talk about the price difference first. Is it justified? I would say, yeah. Why? Because there's just more safety features, there are a lot of upgrades, you can get more space, and bottom line is, it's just a more practical car. But is it a cooler car than the 3-door Jimny? I would say no. For me, mas cool yung 3-door Jimny. Diba? Made in Japan pa. Now, let me get into this whole made in Japan, made in India bit really quick. I talked about this in the previous 3-door Jimny episode in Makina Auto. Technically speaking, honestly, I don't think it should matter. But if you're talking about resale value and perceived value as decided by the people of the Philippines, made in Japan is holding its value, and there's more value if it is done in the homeland, when technically it really shouldn't. Like what I said, I'm looking at the innards of a made in India one versus made in Japan one. It's identical, it's the same banana. The only difference I saw were how the engine bay was finished, but it's not enough to really fuss about, you know what I mean? The 3-door Jimny is holding its own value-wise in the resale value, and I mean, saka nakakita, the second-hand Jimny, believe it or not, is even more expensive than a brand new one, right? That is evidence right there that us as humans, we have completely lost our minds. If you're gonna go for the 3-door Jimny, the waiting time for that is gonna be much longer than the 5-door Jimny. The 5-door Jimny, you can get it sooner. If you're gonna gun for the 3-door Jimny, you're gonna have to wait a while. At this price range from 1.5 to 1.7 million, I've heard discussions of how there are others in the market that can offer more space, more powerful engines. I mean, you can go for a pickup or a crossover SUV. I'll concede to that. They're right. But, those aren't Jimnys. You see, you are buying this because it's a Jimny. Really. Deep down, you can be justifying with yourself, your spouse, or friends. At the end of the day, you want this really because it is a Jimny. It's a true 4x4 with culture and heritage spanning decades. So now let's talk about dealers or where you can buy this. I'm very, very particular with dealers. For me, that is very important with my relationship with my cars. The dealer plays a big factor. I would highly recommend Suzuki Auto Sukat. Now, just a disclaimer here. No, they did not pay me. I'm not getting a cent for this video. I'm not getting a cent for recommending them. I'm recommending them because I really like how they are doing things, right? Plus, I am a customer. I bought my Jimny from them. It's not like some other dealers na para makabenta lang, they're gonna treat you like the king of the world, and then as soon as they get the sale, you're like, where's all the attention and detail? So one of the good things I want to say about Suzuki Auto Sukat is the service. They constantly remind you your service is due this day and that. When you get there, everything is clean, everything is nice, and they're updating you constantly, and they're very transparent. No bulagaan price or bulagaan service. They're always like, sir, we're gonna do this, and so on and so forth. It's just really, really good service. Now, I met the Borromeo brothers in EICMA in Italy, the owners of Suzuki Auto Sukat. So I like those guys. It's how they carry themselves, how I spoke to them, how they spoke to me. Very, very professional. And you can see how this is cascading down to their employees, and it's showing with how they run their businesses. So I'm pretty impressed with Suzuki Auto Sukat. If you're gonna buy a Jimny, buy it from them. You will not be disappointed. Will the 5-door share the same success and desirability of the 3-door? Well, so far, it's currently sold out. You gotta wait. But the good news is you don't have to wait as long as the 3-door, right? And that for me is a good thing. There you have it, the Suzuki Jimny 5-door. Welcome to the Philippines. This is Zach from Machin Auto Features. Ciao.